This year, 25 AD, Sejanus abuses his power, Chang'an is sacked, and the Gangxi Emperor of the Han Dynasty is overthrown. Welcome to the Yearly Histories, where we will highlight the major events that take place in the Common Era, year by year. Last year, we saw the end of Tacfarinas' revolt against the Romans in North Africa, the Gangxi Emperor stripping his allied chieftains of titles, and Gongsun Shu, a rebel warlord, taking the title of the King of Shu. In the Roman Empire, the Praetorian prefect Sejanus continues with his mission to move up the ladder of power in the empire. Livilla, the widow of the late Drusus, has found herself within Sejanus' grasp. In the past, he allegedly seduced her, convincing her that they were in love and that Drusus needed to be taken out. This year, Sejanus pounces on Tiberius' recent tendency to withdraw from political and public matters and attempts to marry Livilla. Surprisingly to him, Tiberius steps in and blocks the marriage due to Sejanus' lesser status compared to his daughter-in-law, following typical aristocratic social convention. Sejanus' bold actions do not end there. They are put on full display at the trial of the elderly Roman historian Cremitius Cordus. The accusations put forward on Cordus include writing positively about Brutus and Cassius as honorable men and praising them as the last true Romans, and hence indirectly condemning Augustus. The possible true motive behind the trial is that Cordus had done something to irk Sejanus somehow. The elderly historian begins to realize that he will not be getting any help from Tiberius, so he starves himself to death. All of his books and writings are burned in the aftermath of this affair, but Tiberius at this point no longer cares. He is completely disaffected with the tumult and friction that comes with politics and dreams of withdrawing from that role completely in his elder years, being now 66 years of age. Moving to China, where after splitting up the previous year, the Red Eyebrows rebels, still the most dangerous rebel force, now unite on the Yellow River Plateau and begin their march towards the capital of Chang'an in the west. On the way, influenced by the gentry and their contingent, they decide to declare their own emperor in order to legitimize themselves. They have 3 members of the Liu clan in their possession who they have kidnapped, but that doesn't change the fact that this is a rebel peasant army, thus they lack the experience and knowledge required to organize their own government, as most of its partisans are illiterate. In the end, they settle on a candidate, a young boy named Liu Penzi. Checking in on the Gangxi Emperor now. This year, he eliminates a young man who he sees as a threat to his rule. Back in 6 AD, when Emperor Ping died, Wang Mang placed a 2-year-old child on the throne who took the regnal name of Ru Ziying. In 9 AD, Wang Mang swept him aside and took the title of emperor for himself. But what happened to that boy? Wang Mang decided not to have him killed, and in the time since, not much is known about his personal affairs, but he did revert back to his personal name of Liu Ying. This year, 2 men named Wei Xiao and Gong Lin begin a rebellion in Linjing, where Liu Ying resides. Thousands of rebels rise up, and they take Liu Ying prisoner. The Gangxi Emperor responds by sending his Prime Minister Li Song to attack them. They wipe out the rebel force and kill Liu Ying in the process, who dies at the age of 20. Back at the capital, things are looking desperate for the Gangxi Emperor. He's already lost the support of many of the most powerful chieftains, whose loyal troops would have been essential in this situation. Last year, he decided to strip these chieftains of their ranks and dismiss them. The Red Eyebrows are headed straight towards the capital, and surprisingly, another unexpected force is doing the same. The Gangxi Emperor dispatched Liu Xiu at the head of an imperial army last year to pacify the Great Plain region adjacent to the Yellow River. Liu Xiu was successful and crushed the rebel leader and astrologer Wang Long. The emperor still does not fully trust Liu Xiu, who he suspects still resents him for the death of his brother Liu Yan, and orders the commander to disband his army and send it back to the capital. Liu Xiu sees the writing on the wall with the prominent chieftains turning on the emperor, and the Red Eyebrows headed their way, so he begins his own march to Chang'an to take advantage of the situation. The first group to enter Chang'an are the chieftains. The mayhem lasts for months as they rampage through the capital. These chieftains then flee to join the Red Eyebrows rebels. In October, the Red Eyebrows finally enter the capital. The Gangxi Emperor is able to escape on horseback, but he is captured by one of his former officials and brought back to Chang'an. He is forced to abdicate, and Liu Penzi, the chosen candidate of the Red Eyebrows, is granted the title of king. The former Gangxi Emperor is taken out to the countryside, where he is strangled to death. The Red Eyebrows remain in the city, sacking the place and terrorizing the populace. But there is another contender to take up the mantle of Emperor of China, who is much more capable than the Gangxi Emperor was. Liu Xiu had left with his army from Chang'an after the start of the mayhem and moved to consolidate his power in the northeast. By November, he accepts the surrender of Luoyang, the second largest city in China. He enters and makes it his capital. He is now known as Emperor Guangwu of Han, in opposition to Liu Penzi, the boy propped up as king by the Red Eyebrows in Chang'an. With Emperor Guangwu at the head of the Hans, a significantly more capable man than his predecessor, his ascension officially marks the restoration of the Han dynasty, but he has much more work to do to pacify the entirety of China. Catching up with other ongoing rebellions across China, we turn to the southwest in Sichuan. Gongsun Shu declared himself the king of Shu the previous year, after crushing an imperial force led by 2 generals sent to take him down. He raises the stakes this year, as he now grants himself another promotion, styling himself as Emperor of Changjia. Emperor Guangwu recognizes the capabilities of this rising warlord, and realizes he needs to sweep up the other minor revolts before he can concentrate all of his attention on this more major opponent. We will leave this year, 25 AD, with Tiberius standing up to Sejanus for once, the Gangxi Emperor being killed, and Emperor Guangwu taking up the position of the head of the Han dynasty. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to be notified when the next iteration of the yearly histories will be released. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next year in 26 AD to continue the fascinating stories of the world of antiquity and cover its major events.